The symbol of a circle with a dot in the center is a gateway to spiritual understanding. It is one of the most profound esoteric images in spiritual traditions found across many different cultures. And this symbol represents the core of existence and the process of spiritual awakening. From the structure of atoms to the vastness of the solar system, and from the individual to the universe, this symbol holds deep significance, illustrating the interconnectedness of all things. At its core, this symbol serves as a reminder of the relationship between matter and spirit and the journey of life. It's also linked to the law of cause and effect, echoing back the energy that we emit. And it serves as a powerful tool for inner alchemy and the awakening of Kundalini energy. So let's explore the deeper meaning of the circle with the dot in the center and its connection to universal structures and how it applies to Kundalini energy, spiritual transformation, and the preserving and raising of the sacred secretion. So imagine that you are standing in a valley surrounded by mountains. When you shout, your voice bounces back off the rocky surfaces and echoes back to you. If you shout, "I love you," the mountains will return that phrase to you. "I love you, I love you, I love you." But if you shout something negative, like, "I hate you," the echo will return the same energy. "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." And this is not just a physical law, but a spiritual law as well. Every action, thought, or word that we emit sends out waves into the universe, which eventually return to us. These waves are shaped by our intent, by our frequency. No one and no thing can escape from the effect of their past actions, which are bound to echo and reflect back. It may come as no surprise that sometimes the return effect takes many lives to return to us, as the distance it has to travel may be very far. It is the matter that reflects the echo. So it's the material substance that reflects the echo back, not the spirit. The spirit acts and matter reacts. Matter responds to impulse. Its role is to stand up to the spirit, to oppose and to limit it. Humans are consistently emitting waves of energy, whether beneficial or harmful, through our thoughts, feelings, and actions. And these waves travel through space-time dimension until they reach their limits and return to their source, manifesting as rewards or perhaps seemingly negative consequences and lessons. This law is part of the sacred secretion practice. Those who understand this law are careful to only send out waves of purity, love, kindness, and tolerance. Thus, the energy they receive assists them on their path and allows energy to rise freely through their body. The ascent and foaming of CSF happens naturally when we're in this giving, loving frequency. In this way, the circle with the dot in the center acts as a metaphor for the cyclical nature of energy and karma. Again, the spirit acts as the catalyst and matter, material substance, reacts, creating an unending loop of reflection and return. At the heart of the symbol, the dot represents the spirit or the divine spark within us, while the surrounding circle symbolizes the space-time boundary in which material existence unfolds. This pattern can be found throughout the universe. For example, the structure of our cells follows this model. The nucleus is the spirit, endless 0-point creative energy at the center, and the surrounding cytoplasm is the soul with the mineral coating as the boundary of that entity. Similarly, the solar system has a sun at its center and the planets revolve around it within a defined space. Even fruits and seeds reflect this pattern. The seed or spirit is encased in the flesh of the soul, and the outer skin or the body protects it. If you take a peach, for example, the stone is that nucleus, is that center point. The flesh of the fruit is the material that it's acting on, and then the skin is the boundary of that organism, of that individual entity. So with this in mind, we can see the atoms and the solar system and all the organisms in between, the huge and the tiny, the macro and the micro, are identical in their basic structural design. They are a circle with a dot in the center. It's the circle of life, and it moves us all, as they say in The Lion King. And this recurring structure demonstrates the principle that without spirit, without the center point, matter cannot exist. But that spirit, the dot in the middle, remains unaffected by the limits of time and space. Spirit, represented by the dot, is timeless and spaceless, while matter, represented by the circle, functions within the constraints of time and space, material boundaries. In Kundalini Yoga, the circle with the dot is a powerful symbol for understanding the flow of energy through the human body. The dot in the middle of the circle represents the Kundalini energy, the latent, balanced spiritual force resting at the base of the spine in the Muladhara or root chakra. As the energy of Kundalini rises, it moves into the next circle or sphere of energy above the Muladhara, which is of course the sacral center. From there, it circles into the solar plexus sphere, and so on into the heart, and so on into the throat, and so forth, because all the chakras are spheres or circles with dots in the middle, and they're all encased within our larger unified body field. So, it's bubbles within bubbles within bubbles, from teeny tiny to massive macro. And the circle and the dot act as symbols of the alchemy of ascension, akin to the sacred secretion transmutation, because the spirit or the divine spark seeks to free itself from the boundaries of matter that are represented by the circle. That divine spark longs to be utilized, longs to be heard and set free, longs to govern and to reign over our lives, because it's the intelligent source energy that knows and sees all. It's actually the only thing that presides over everything, the only thing that can have the all-knowingness. So by surrendering to it, we're asking perfect intelligence to come in and govern things and to guide us, which is far more intelligent than our own limited view. Setting the divine spark free in the preserving and raising of the sacred secretion is what Charles Fillmore meant when he said, you weren't born to die, you were born to harness your true atomic capabilities, i.e. you were born to realize your infinite nature. By cultivating good thoughts, good words, good deeds, we clear the toxic energies and residues within the body, and that's what allows Kundalini to flow more freely. This process raises our vibrational frequency and facilitates the spiritual ascent beyond the limits of matter into the realms of spirit. And this manifests in so many different ways, because we see solutions for things that we hadn't registered before. We step outside of the box and notice our potential. We attract new circumstances and new scenarios that show us just how limitless we truly are. It's really incredible. It's really important to know this. It's really important to know that every negative action or hateful word has an autonomous, meaning automatic response in the biochemistry of our body, or in the alchemical picture or state of our bodies. The endocrine glands are secreting chemicals that create emotions at all times, reflecting the frequency and the thought pattern that we're in. On some level, we innately know that our actions have consequences, because we're all familiar with shame, embarrassment, remorse, and other reflective emotions on some level. Even shame and remorse have chemical substance. So it's up to us to exit old cycles, literally to leave the circle, and change the mechanics of our psyche toward love, toward healing, and towards enlightenment. It all starts in the center. When we work on ourselves, the outside world has no other option but to change along with us, because it is the outward picturing of our own circle within the circle. The circle with a dot in the center represents the fundamental, unswervable law that the universe operates within the framework of space and time. And everything within it, matter, life, and energy, circulates in this finite dimension. That's how we get to experience reality. That mechanism is what makes it possible to have this human experience. The serpent of matter holds the spirit within its coils, limiting its full expression. And paradoxically, these limits are essential for experiencing the duality of life, suffering on one end and joy on the other, because they are necessary conditions for the evolution of our souls in this world. The return journey, our return journeys to the divine or to enlightenment, happens when the spirit breaks free from the limitations of matter and returns to its source, when we wake up from the illusions and realize our creative powers. This process is mirrored in the life cycles of all living things. For example, an egg requires a protective shell to incubate life. Once it hatches, the shell is discarded. Similarly, the physical body, these flesh suits, serve as a protective layer for the spirit. When the body dies, the spirit is released to return to higher dimensions. In conclusion, the symbol of the circle with a dot in the center is a powerful representation worth meditating on of the relationship, the beautiful relationship between spirit and matter, time and space. It encapsulates the cosmic design of the universe as well as the inner structure of every living being. By understanding this symbol, we come to realize that all the actions, thoughts, and words that we send out into the universe are reflected back to us, and that is our moment by moment experience of life, and it is changeable. I've seen it, I know it. As we journey through life, our goal is to purify these energies, allowing us to raise our frequency and free the spirit from that coil, that shell of matter. Through the awakening of Kundalini energy and the preservation of the sacred secretion, we align ourselves with the true center of existence, our divine spark, true source, love, perfect light. Although we exist within the boundaries of time and space, our true essence is timeless and spaceless, capable of transcending the material world and returning to infinite source. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, thank you very much for watching, and the links to my books, courses and other resources can be found in the description box below this video. And may divine love manifest itself in you all, always and in all ways. Namaste.